Hello and welcome to Motion Graphics Tricks YouTube channel. In this video you will be going through the Adobe Premiere Pro tutorial for beginners 2024. Let's jump into this. When you first open up Adobe Premiere Pro, the first thing you want to do is create a new project. To do that, click here, Create a New Project, and name your project. I will be naming this project Tasty Meal because I want to edit a video from restaurant footage. Next, you select the project location. It's important to label your project folders appropriately to better organize your workflow for ease of access. After this, I'm going to click here to create my new project. After that, this is the page you're going to be greeted with when you open up Premiere Pro. The next thing you want to do is start importing your videos and audio. Staying organized in your editing process is crucial because it's a habit that is really hard to get into once you don't learn it at the beginning. So let's create some folders at the beginning right here in our project library. First, I will create one for B-roll, one for my stock footage, one for VFX, and one for audio. Next, you select your clips and drag them into the appropriate folders, as shown above. Now you see we have all the assets for this project in their various folders. Next up, we will be creating a new sequence. Now your sequence is what you can edit inside of, like a container housing your assets in a sequential order. Right-click outside of your project window as seen above and select Create a New Sequence from the drop-down menu. Switch to the Settings tab and adjust your own settings, or copy the one shown below. I am using 25 frames per second at 1920 by 1080 Full HD resolution, and I will be leaving the rest of the settings as they are. Name your sequence and hit OK. Now you have your timeline popping up as well. Now don't worry if your Premiere Pro does not look like mine. Premiere Pro has this thing called Workspaces, which are basically different kinds of software layout presets for different kinds of tasks you are going to be doing inside of Premiere Pro. If you want to access your workspaces, click here at the top right corner. We have separate kinds of layouts for editing, coloring, effects, audio, and so on. So each workspace is organized for its own specific task within your editing flow. So I will be staying inside the editing workspace for now. Next up is importing your videos into your timeline. There are two ways of doing this. The first is to select your video and drag it into your timeline, as you can see it here on video track 1. Now when I press play, you can see my videos moving here in my sequence. The second way to import video is by double-clicking your footage from your project window. And here on the source monitor, you will be able to skim through it and import the file by dragging it into your sequence. Or perhaps I would like to import just a segment of the clip into my timeline. I can come to the part where I want my videos to begin, press I on my keyboard, scroll to where I want it to end, and then press O on my keyboard. Click here and drag and drop it into my timeline, and now instead of importing the whole long clip to my timeline, I just imported the exact part that I want to add. So let's familiarize ourselves with the Premiere Pro workspace. Now your Sequence tab is where you will be doing majority of your editing. You can zoom in and out of your sequence by dragging this button here like this. Next to it is where you will find most of the essential tools that you will be using for your editing. On the left, you have your project library, Effects, Info tab, and Media browsers. These placements are all based on the exact workspace you are in. The next important part is your playback area or your program window. Once you hit the spacebar button on your keyboard or hit play, the video starts playing. You can also scroll through. The next stop you are going to be using is the effect controls, which are right here where you will be setting some of the most important parameters of your clips and also adjusting the effects that you add to them later on. Here are some of the essential tools you will be using. Number 1 is the select tool that you can access by coming here or by pressing V on your keyboard. So with this, you can move things around, adjust your settings, and so on. Also, when you press C on your keyboard or click this razor icon to activate it, you can make cuts in your videos and split them into separate parts. For example, if I want to cut out this middle part, I can click it to select. Then use the selection tool and hit delete to get rid of this middle space. Select again and hit delete. Next up, I want to show you how to speed up and slow down your different clips. Click this part of the clip right here, right-click and select speed/duration, and you will be able to set your speed percentage here. So if I want to make this clip slower, I will change my percentage here to 50%, and then you can see a nice slow motion. The same thing applies when you increase the percentage to above 100%. The effect is a fast clip. Next up is adding your effects and transitions to your clips. To do this, you can either go to the Effects tab here or select the Effects workspace as seen above. So if you want to create a transition between these two clips, as shown below, go to the Effects panel and click on Video Transitions to see the ton of different transition already available in Premiere Pro. So I am going to be using the Dissolve one, for example. Feel free to experiment on the different transitions for your project. If you want to adjust the length of your transition, you can zoom in and adjust as shown above to make it shorter or longer. If you want to add an effects instead, come right here to Video Effects for this tutorial. I will be adding directional blur effects. Drag it into your clip, and you will see nothing happen. This is because you need to go to the Effects control panel, and if I adjust the settings here, you can see the changes it is making. If I want to delete the effects, I can just select it here and hit delete. The same goes for audio effects, which you can find here, as well as audio transitions. Next, add text to your sequence. Click the text tool and type in your program window. For this tutorial, I will be using Tasty Fresh. Go to the Essential Graphics panel and adjust the text settings as shown below. Set your text to Montserrat. Adjust the alignment of the text as shown. You can also adjust the scale and add a nice drop shadow to your text background. To adjust the duration of your text, separate the newly created text layer and adjust the duration by making it longer or shorter, as shown above. Next up, you can add audio to your videos by dragging and dropping on your timeline. That is how simple it is. You can also drag sound effects to your timeline as shown and change the positioning of your sound effects. To adjust your audio levels, you can expand it by clicking here and dragging it down like this, and you can also adjust the levels by dragging this white line and lowering it so you can see the new values. Another way is to select the audio clip, then go to Effects Control and set the level here. If you are looking for an amazing solution where you can get this amazing videos, audios, and sound effects for your own YouTube videos and client projects, Envato Elements might be what you are looking for. I have been using their service for almost 4 years now. All you need to do is subscribe to a plan and get licenses for all the thousands of assets you download from their websites. Next up is color grading your video to make it pop more. Right-click anywhere in your project window and create a new adjustment layer. Make sure it's the same size as your sequence and hit OK. Drag and drop that in your sequence and make it cover the entire length of your sequence. Then switch to the color workspace. Under the Lumetri color, and adjust the settings. By applying the settings to the adjustment layer, it affects all the clips under it, rather than adjusting your clips individually. Also, a faster way to grade your videos is by applying LUTs. What are LUTs? LUTs are pre-made filters you can add to your videos. They have a bunch of different looks. Now, if I want to see before and after, I can enable and disable this eye to see before and after. Now, I will be creating an example video with all the things I have shown you in this tutorial. Take a look. Now the next thing we are going to do is export this footage. To do that, you make sure your specified part is selected at the beginning of the sequence. Press I, go to where you want your video to end, and press O on your keyboard. This way you can set the in and out point. Basically everything that is selected will be in your export, and everything that is not going to be included. Then here on export you can rename your file. Here you can choose the location of it here, set your export presets here, and here on range you want to make sure it is set to source in, out. Also ensure that your sequence settings match your export settings like frame rate and resolution, and then hit export. And that's all. I hope you enjoy this video. See you in the next lesson. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.